Time last year, our Blue Skies Thinking closing address was delivered by Patrick Nally, who, if you've not met him, Google him. He's considered to be the founder of modern sports marketing. Patrick delivered half an hour of great insight and real vision about the future. But one thing that he kept relatively quiet about was about the immediate future and the vision for Patrick Nally. We're delighted, and it is just so appropriate that Patrick, his partners Dentsu, have chosen Sports Marketing 360 2012 for the launch of their new venture to give us a real insight into where the founder of modern sports marketing believes the future of sports marketing is going. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome to the stage Patrick Nally.
As they say, follow that. I'm being joined by three of my colleagues who are going to help me present this new venture this afternoon. Immediately on my right is Don Morris, who will be talking on behalf of Mind Sports, the president of the International Federation of Poker, Anthony Holden, and from Chicago, Jim McManus, who is a duplicate poker ambassador. But it's been quite fascinating because I can't believe it's only a year that I was here giving my own Blue Sky presentation. And Tim, I really enjoyed your Blue Sky presentation. A couple of horrific things came out of it, is that I'm actually entering my fourth era, having started with Peter West in the late 60s and seen all that period of development through the 70s and 90s. And here I am about to embark on what probably, well not probably, is, I think, going to be my most exciting venture yet. Again, listening today, some of the points that came up about X factor, I was thinking, you know, are we about to do something which has the X factor? I think, yes, very much we are. Digital, again, Tim raised it. This is all about digital. I got captured by the whole digital social media, having seen three kids grow up and become very much part, and I am a hidden man on Facebook and have been for many, many years, more years than I care to mention, that yes, it's very much digital. Less is more. Yes, I think what we are doing, and to pick up a comment from Tim's presentation, this is in fact exactly, you talked about mass and mass marketing and mass one-to-one. We're just about to embark, I think, on a very exciting adventure which actually would deliver mass one-to-one. So just to sort of set the scene, we've formed a new venture which is Mind Sport Partners. It's, again, for any of you historians in sports marketing, I think you'll probably be quite amused, as I am, to see that this venture is actually a joint venture between Dentsu and West Nally. We have the privilege of being the exclusive agency for both the International Federation of Poker, and I'll explain a little bit more about the International Federation of Poker, supported by its president. And also we are the exclusive agency for the International Mind Sports Association. Again, it was interesting to say, if we started again, where would we put our office? Not quite China, but our head office is in Singapore, and our major representative office is in London. And another coincidence for you historians, I'm back in Berkeley Square. Just very briefly, I got involved a few years ago about setting up a new international federation. When I was first asked to whether I would get involved with it, I laughed. I thought, no way can I get involved with something that is so obviously related to gambling and casinos, because I didn't play poker. But having spent a bit of time to understand poker, to understand a social phenomenon that has happened with poker throughout the world, and to understand how poker is a total part of that social media development, taking advice from very good friends in the International Federation movement, and specifically in Lausanne, it was agreed that we should, in fact, set up an International Federation of Poker, which we did, which is set up as the worldwide governing body. It's a not-for-profit organization, just like other international sports federations, and it is based on presenting poker as a mind sport based on strategic skills. This mass one-to-one is going to be captured through what it is that we're going to be doing. We are going to be doing a membership scheme, an international global membership scheme like other sports federations. It's nothing to do with gaming casinos. There's no cash, there's no buy-ins. It's obviously creating a regulated sports approach to poker. It is going to be online. It is going to have a World Championships with qualifying rounds around the world so that everybody around the world can actually participate and join into winning through to a World Championship. We will have a major final, and I'll introduce you a little bit more background to that final, which is going to be called The Table. It will have live events. We are going to be hosting some live events here in London in the next few months, nothing to do with the casino environment. It will rank players, but it will rank players in nano federations. Whether you're architects, engineers, or wherever you are, we are giving people the empowerment to create their own federations. So maybe other federations will be joining IFP. We do anticipate, therefore, being able to attract world-class sponsors and broadcasters because we will be going one-to-one and will be able to identify who our audience is and where our audience is. And then obviously with this regulation and policing of the World Poker, it will give added value for the people that are already in the marketplace. We're not going to compete with the zingers and the social networks or the online poker sites. We are going to be offering something that's very different and an increase in player attraction. So just the very quick proposition, we will be looking for affiliates and partners. We are going to be working with all the existing poker sites. We're going to be working with all the social networks. We're going to be working with architects, with dentists, with firemen. We're going to offer the ability for people to actually join in a social and in a competitive environment to where they can be ranked, to where they can achieve things, but win through both with ranking and with tournaments. So to start this, we will be launching this in London in November. We have selected 2 locations to organise our first 2 events, one of them being the first ever World Championship, which will be The Table. The 2 venues that we've selected is the County Hall and the EDF Energy London Eye, which are 2 great venues for us to bring the international world to our events. We will, as I say, be launching our first World Championship, which will be invitational this year, but in future it will be all online, and the world will be able to enter and to play online to win their way through to future World Championships. We've been working with the establishment of national federations in key markets, UK, USA, Spain, Germany and Brazil. We've established recently China, Japan, Russia, India all following. And obviously we're bringing both the professional world and the amateur world together. In terms of one aspect which is quite new, which is similar to what happened in bridge, we're introducing duplicate poker. Jim will explain a little bit more about what duplicate poker is and how it is played, but in essence we're going to have 12 teams come and play poker or duplicate poker in the eye. We have all 32 pods of the eye. 12 pods of the eye will be used for the Duplicate Poker Nations event, and in the other pods of the eye we will be showing other mind sports of chess, bridge, go and drafts. And clearly from the end of that we will be deciding on who is the national champion of that event. But what I would like to do, just to enable us to explain a little bit more, is first of all hand over to Don, who will give you a little bit more background on mind sports.
Thank you, Patrick. It's quite a good figure, isn't it? There are over 1 billion mind sports players, and the growing impact of digital applications and social networks, online and particularly on mobile, is giving players almost unlimited ability to interact. This is an exciting and unique worldwide audience. I'm here to give you an introduction to IMSA, the International Mind Sports Association, and the World Mind Sports Games. IMSA, the International Mind Sports Association, formed on the 19th of April 2005 under the aegis of the, as it was then known, General Association of International Sports Federations, now renamed Sport Accord, as you're all aware, has offices in Lausanne, Switzerland, and is part of the global Olympic family of federations. This is a real global organisation, and like all great physical sports, it's got President Jose Damiani, who spent many years taking bridge to new levels, including massive world championships in China, good executive committee, over 500 national federations. So you've got a world federation, regional federations, national federations, clubs and players. The federations are 4 full members, the World Bridge Federation, the World Chess Federation, the Federation of Drafts, I'm trying to work out the French there, I'm getting lost, and the International Go Federation. In addition, there are 2 observer members, the Chinese Chess Association, which is called Shangxi, and the International Federation of Poker, particularly focusing on duplicate poker as the pure mind sport version of that game. In 2011, under the auspices of IMSA, we are forming 5 national mind sports associations in Brazil, Germany, Spain, UK and USA. The aim of the national organisations will be to run national mind sports events, and for example China, which ran the first World Mind Sports Games in 2008, which I'm about to tell you about, is running national mind sports games every year from then on. We're also involved in a very interesting and exciting global educational initiative involving a Mind Sports Centre for Research and Social Responsibility with global academic institutions just beginning to get involved, including Harvard, MIT, Oxford and many more. I think this is the exciting thing about mind sports as a global sports audience. There are no barriers. This is possibly, potentially, the world's largest participant sport. No barriers of age, race, creed, or physical ability. Anyone can play. Mind sports are open to all. Proven educational benefits for the young, particularly as we go digital, Tim's point earlier, about the opportunities for young people in computers to get educational benefits by playing games than perhaps the shoot-them-up games. Mind sports are proven to improve mental capacity in daily life, and the recent reports from the University of Berkeley have proven that mind sports are a barrier to Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. This is an exciting opportunity. Like physical sports, the other Olympic family sports have their great event, and the World Mind Sports Games is it for mind sports. The first World Mind Sports Games were held in Beijing in 2008. And teams from 140 countries, 2,736 participants, 2 weeks of games, global media coverage, 450 odd accredited media, and gold, silver and bronze medals. Very exciting event and very well supported. The president of the Committee of Honour was Jacques Rogue from the International Olympic Committee, Hein Verbruggen from Sport Accord, very senior people from the Chinese government. And the first World Mind Sports Games were launched with a message of support from Jacques Rogue, President of the International Olympic Committee. The UK Mind Sports Association, under the auspices of IMSA, have got our first event, which is happening, as Patrick said, on the London Eye on November the 17th, at which we will be making the official announcement of the World Mind Sports Games 2012 host city. The EDF Energy London Eye, great exciting event, wonderful to have the new mind sport, poker, duplicate poker in particular, playing on the pods, and we're looking forward to a great evening. So to summarise, the 5 other games, apart from duplicate poker, that we are having on the London Eye are bridge, Go, which is the great Asian game of strategy, drafts, 10 by 10 drafts, not the 8 by 8, which is a lot easier, which we all thought we played and now we understand we don't. Chess, and Shangxi, which is the Chinese version of chess. So we're looking forward to a very exciting time ahead. It's a very interesting audience. And now I'd like to pass you over to the newest member of IMSA, well-known international author and president of the International Federation of Poker, Anthony Holden. Anthony.
Thank you, Don. I'm Anthony Holden. I'm a writer, journalist, broadcaster, and lifelong poker player who at the beginning of 2009 began my umpteenth career as having met Patrick Nally, as the president of the UK Poker Federation. And in April of that year in Lausanne, Switzerland, I was elected the first president of the International Federation of Poker, established under the Swiss Civil Code, and it was immediately accepted by the court for the arbitration of sport. Recognized was the word I was groping for. As Patrick said, it tends to serve as a worldwide global governing body. To existing federations apply, new federations are coming and applying to us all the time, and they can affiliate with the aim of creating a global community of poker players with much more emphasis on the love of the game, playing the game for the love of the game, than playing it for financial profit. We're a not-for-profit organization aiming to secure recognition of poker, legal recognition all over the world, separated off from gambling, and have it accepted as a legal mind sport based on strategic skills detached from casino environments. The founder members in Lausanne, as you know, the world headquarters of international sports federations and of the Olympic movement, were UK, Ukraine, Russia, Denmark, France, Netherlands, and Brazil. Since then, in the 2.5 years since then, we've grown to around 40 members. And a year after our foundation, in April 2010, at the annual meeting of Sport Accord in Dubai, we were granted provisional observer status of the International Mind Sports Association, which is dependent on IFP getting full membership of Sport Accord. We've lodged our application, and we hope to achieve that in May of next year at their annual Congress in Quebec. As you can see, we've grown from 7 to, as I say, just about 40 members across 3 continents. Some real biggies we're formally announcing today. The USA Poker Federation, obviously one of our biggest members, from you'll be hearing later. But China and other such countries are lining up, and if you look at a map of the world, it looks like that, with those in green being the founder members, orange are existing members since foundation, and the dark red are the ones that are working towards membership with us at the moment. As Patrick and Don have mentioned, we're all part of this big event, exciting event in November on the EDF Energy London Eye, and following with a conventional poker tournament, the first official IFP World Championships in County Hall on the Saturday and Sunday. One final point about duplicate poker, for those of you who play maybe duplicate bridge, one of the points of it is you're dealing the same hands at separate tables, and therefore you don't really want the players at any given table to see what's happening at the other tables. Hence the genius, which I claim but others counterclaim, of having the idea of putting it in pods of the London Eye, where they can't see what's happening in other pods. And to speak more about the exciting concept of duplicate poker, I want to introduce the eminent American writer, IFP's Global Ambassador for Duplicate Poker, James McManus.
Thanks, Tony. I'll be briefer than I expected to be because a lot of the points were covered earlier. Give you a sense of what duplicate poker is about compared to traditional poker. We recognize that deep stack, no-limit Texas Hold'em tournaments is certainly a contest of skill. But there's enough luck involved that just about any decent player is capable of winning or finishing in the money in one of these events. I myself finished 5th in the very first tournament I entered, which I was covering as a journalist, and this happened to be the 2000 World Series of Poker main event. How much luck was involved in that? outcome? Tons and tons, let me tell you. Duplicate poker is a variant of no limit hold'em from which nearly all of the luck has been drained. Every player is dealt the same cards in the course of the tournament, and their scores reflect how well or how poorly they played them. It's a variant that guarantees the best players and teams will win in the short run as well as the long run. So the bad news for me is that I will never threaten to win the Duplicate Poker World Championship, as 11 years ago I threatened to win the regular event. The good news is that IFP's Nations Cup will reveal in November which country has, at least currently, the best poker players. The other news today is that both traditional and duplicate poker are highly effective tools for educators and researchers, and we plan to let more people in on this secret. To give one example, one of our board members, Charles Nesson at Harvard Law School, has long encouraged students to see in poker a language for understanding the dynamics of strategic decision-making. The game's rules and tactics are also deployed in cutting-edge research into artificial intelligence at Stanford and other universities. They can be also used to teach children fractions, percentages, budget making, and nonviolent conflict resolution, to help them see the world from other points of view in a crisis. Poker and other mind sports can help older students learn game theory, economics, contract law, and negotiating tactics. They have helped students prepare for careers in law, mathematics, commodities trading, and the military. The famous American general Ulysses S. Grant used his poker experience to predict the battlefield tendencies of Confederate generals he'd played against in their days together at West Point. FDR during World War II, General Eisenhower, and most other American presidents have played the game avidly, including the current president. In 1946, Harry Truman played against Churchill the night before Churchill gave his Iron Curtain speech on the threat from the Soviet Union. More recently, Bill Gates deployed dollars earned and lessons learned in poker games in his Harvard dorm room to help him found Microsoft. And he's on record as saying he learned more about business strategy in the poker games than he did in his Harvard classrooms. These are just a few of the reasons we're excited to be working with Professor Nesson and others at Harvard to develop a mind sport research network with similar nodes at Oxford, Caltech, MIT, and universities in China. It's literally impossible to understand game theory, economics, defense strategy in the last 75 years without recourse to the mind sport of poker. It's our goal at Mind Sports Partners and the IFP to expand on these insights well into the future. Thanks. And now I'm going to bring you back to Patrick one more time.
You can now see why I changed my mind about not wanting to help set up an international federation. I realized that my life was lacking in terms of strategic understanding, and I obviously had to read Anthony's books to learn all about poker. But I think what we're doing here today is obviously we've been working at this for a few years. Today is our launch platform to launch MindSport Partners. We will be setting up our platform to operate all our games and memberships on over the next couple of months. Part of our responsibility, of course, being an international federation, and as we move forward for full recognition at Sport Accord in Quebec next year, is that the International Federation of Poker will need its World Poker Championships. I've had a little modest sort of experience with world events, and obviously enjoyed many World Cups and Olympics and other things, but I'm really looking forward to being involved in the evolution and creation of the IFP World Championships, which, as we've said, is going to be the table. The objective of the table is obviously to create the official World Championships in the game of poker. There isn't an official World Championships as yet in the game of poker. The objective is obviously to give all poker players the most prestigious and authentic competition in the world. So this is not a poker tournament that's just attracting people that like to play poker for a living. This is for poker players, and as Charles Nesson tells us at Harvard, there's an immense number of very, very talented poker players around the world playing poker because they play poker because they enjoy it. They don't want to earn their living from playing poker, but they want to show their skill, their aptitude, and the way that they can play the game. So through the table, we are going to give everybody in the world that is interested in poker the opportunity of entering and winning their way through to the final table. So this will give us the ability to promote the game of poker. We will be doing it through a global platform, and therefore we do anticipate increasing the number of participants. Clearly, we want to enhance its image of poker as a mind sport. We don't want to be relegated to casinos. We have to change perception of governments and countries. It's interesting that here in the UK, having spoken to our sports minister to find out why British chess players, bridge players, Go players, draft players get no support because we do not recognise mind sports as sport in this country, because we're still living in 1937, because that's when our Sports Act was last amended. And I think in 1937, which is even before my time, we were going to war, and it was all about keeping fit. I think today, as we all live longer, I think the mental aspect of sport, the mental conditioning of sport, is as equally as important as the physical aspect. So clearly, from our point of view, we do anticipate improving the image with these activities of poker and the others as very important mind sports, and making it very much part of our social fabric. So the attraction of the format, it will be online. We are going to be, as I've said, empowering people to create nano federations and activities. So a lot of what we're doing is online. It is going to be very much using the modern digital technology, but we'll eventually end up with a finale of the table with a live event. We will be working through national federations. We will probably be working through digital federations. So with our national federations, digital federations, we will be spreading the activity. And of course, it's interesting that there are not just many millions of people playing poker in the United States. There's probably even more millions of people playing in China, in India, and in the other markets. So this is going to be very much, from my experience, based on the traditional sport tournament structure. And again, by using the correct management, it's the elimination of luck and concentrating on the skill. So platform opening, we will have our platform opened before the end of the year. Qualifying start for future years, because this year's invitational will start early in the new year. It will close around September next year so that there can be live events, national championships around September, October, and then the live event final will fit into the November slot. So plan your Novembers to include attendance to the table. And this way that we can then obviously meet the regular annual poker calendar. Again, one of the advantages of perhaps myself and Dentsu working together is between us we've got a little bit of experience of presenting major sport events. We're clearly working on the image and the presentation of what our World Championship, the table, will be. We will clearly want to be getting across the fact that all of you will have the opportunity not only of outskilling your friends, but outskilling the world. We will obviously be able to present the first introduction on an invitational event, as Anthony has said, on the weekend of 19th and 20th. On this occasion, we will have the 130 top players from around the world to play in the first event, and then following that event we will be starting the launch of the membership so that it becomes open to all for 2012 and beyond. So we do intend to outskill the world, but just to wrap up, again, being involved with events, I thought I'd just run a very quick animation piece to show you the work in progress as our plans for the table progress. sure you'll realise that 8 is my lucky number. I think UEFA need to be quite fearful, because if they think they've got a great music for the European Champions League, we've got even better music for the table. I'd like to just do one last thing, because simultaneously to us presenting this here today, as has been said, our colleagues are doing presentations as we speak in New York, in Munich and in Madrid, as well as in Rio. And we do have, by great technology, the ability to just have them introduce themselves briefly to you. Thank you.
Hello everybody in London. Greetings from New York City. This is Peter Olson, President of the United States Poker Federation. I'm thrilled to be a part of this launch today, even if it's just by video. This is an historic day in poker, the dawning of a new era. The USPF, along with the IFP and Mind Sports partners, want poker to be recognized for what it is, a pure sport that is demanding, endlessly fascinating, and above all, great fun. We think that poker teaches mathematical skills, business skills, and the kind of strategizing that leads to success in life. In that regard, a big part of our program will be to introduce poker and its fellow mind sports, chess, bridge, draughts, go, and Chinese chess, into school curriculums where it can be used as a teaching device. We also see exciting potential for professional athletes looking for a mental edge, as well as boomers who want to keep their minds sharp. We share in the IFP's excitement about a future in which the emphasis is on sport, not money, skill, not luck. We're delighted to be a part of this. We look forward to the exciting days ahead. Cheers, everyone.
My name is Stefan Karlhammer, and I'm honored to represent the German Federation of Poker in my capacity as the president. Founded in 2009 as an official member of the International Federation of Poker, the GFP serves as the governing body for poker interests in Germany. Our main objective is to promote poker as a mind sport of strategic skill without restrictions of any kind. We are proud to be the organizer and host of a national poker league with currently 48 member clubs. We have crowned 2 national champions to date and are starting out the season for the 3rd time. One of the most exciting events for us is the upcoming U, Europe's biggest youth fair, hosted in Berlin. Between September 23rd and 25th, the GFP has been given the chance to present itself, amongst other mind sports associations, to a large audience. We are working towards turning this event into the Federation's successful kickoff on the local market. The highlight will certainly be our U Poker Open, where everybody, regardless of his or her skills, will have the chance to win a live poker tournament. Since 2010, the IFP has been an official member of the International Mind Sport Association. The GFP very much appreciates this development and will campaign for setting up equivalent structures in the German-speaking markets. We are confident, therefore, of being able to increase the acceptance of poker as a mind sport, not only amongst the public, but also amongst regulators and policymakers.
Hello everyone, I have been during 2 nights preparing this speech, so let me use the paper because I don't want to miss any word. Spain is home of the son of the top sportsmen in the world, and the poker players are no exception. We have around 600,000 players across the country, and when it comes to a passion for poker, you can smell it on the streets. As the National Association, we are working hard to promote the sport through the country and all around the world, supporting the inspirational efforts of IFP. In the year to come, we plan to stage the first Spanish national championship. The work that we can do together with IFP and IMSA sports partners is really exciting and promises a bright future for the world of sports. We want poker to be recognized for what it is, a sport that is captivating, hugely competitive and great fun. The possibilities that are presented by technology allow our sports to be shared by players all over the world, and the organization of international tournaments in an online space empowers people to compete on a level never before realized by professional sport. We share the IFP passion for a future where the emphasis of poker is on a skill and not money, and it is a future that we are very excited to be part of. Good luck to everyone. Hasta pronto.
You can see I'm having lots of fun. All I can summarize, and I thank you for your patience, your time, but you heard it here first. You can smell it on the street. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. The day is drawing to an end, but I'd like to take this opportunity just to make our contributors available to answer any questions that you may have. And there are one or two in the room already. Thank you for being with us. Can we start with you? Have we got a microphone?
Just so you can hear me.
Yeah, you can.
It's just a couple of questions about mind sport games in general for me. And the first is, in the UK, obesity in children especially is a bit of a strain, and the NHS is one of the biggest problems they're predicting over the next few years. Are you expecting any kind of negative opposition to this in promoting mind sports games, where a child, instead of perhaps learning physical activity to improve their diet, improve their health, will become a chess player or a Go player where they're largely sitting down? That would be the first point to make. And secondly, any ideas that you have on broadcast for the games itself? I mean, recently I've been looking at squash, one of the most active and dynamic games, and they've had to totally reinvent how they broadcast it because it's looked at as one-dimensional. So I just wonder whether there's anything you've looked at on those 2 points.
If I can take the first part, take the second. It's an interesting and a big problem. You're right. The sort of the future obesity problem is a big worry, and governments are also worried about the computer addiction problem of young people, which sort of tend to go hand in hand a little bit. The shoot 'em up games and so forth. In China, we have great support for mind sports events with online qualifying leading to real events. And whilst sort of dietary issues are a massive area where sort of greater brains than mine hold forth, I do believe that the sort of the intellectual challenge of mind sports and the healthy mind, healthy body, and perhaps the fact that you've got a chance to win through to a final, to turn up somewhere, maybe will help a bit in that self-respect area, getting the mind working and so forth. It's not the great answer to everything, but I do think we have a real opportunity to sort of engage with people, maybe help some people get a little more personal pride, and I think that can help, yes.
If I can add just on a couple of points to that, and again, a lot of this research centre and the evolution of all what mind sports does will be developed over a period of time. But as we've seen with the riots here not so long ago, and the whole question of strengthening family values, if you look at strengthening of family values, one of the key things that have kept families together, and certainly, I'm probably of the older generation, but I remember with my father and with my uncles now, and then with my sons, the importance of playing chess, playing cards, playing mind sports in terms of being competitive with each other was a very, very integral part of family value. And I think in many cases, a lot of that family value has gone, and us encouraging families to get back to being more competitive with each other with mind sports would be a positive step. On your broadcast side, again, I must have written Tim's piece, I'm sorry, Tim, but it's not going to take 20 years. It's happening now. There is going to be complete, as we saw with the NBC Comcast bid with the Olympics, where most of us thought that this was going to be the decline of the Olympic broadcast. The fact that Comcast, NBC are now doing total multi-digital platforms of every single element of the Olympics, so any one of you can be selecting whatever you want to watch at any sort of time, is exactly what we're doing. On our 12 pods in the Eye, you will be able to take a stream from all of those 12 pods. If you're clever enough, you can actually analyze what each of the players are doing with the same hand in the same place in different pods. So it will be a completely different form of television in terms of live streaming and putting the viewer in the position to select what data, what information they require. And the hosting of the Mind Sports games will be also operated in that same way.
Okay, Patrick, thank you. Another question at the back there?
Patrick, John Taylor. Didn't know you were going to... I should have asked you this last night, I suppose, but...
That was it. I just had to point out that was only at dinner.
All right, okay.
What, I didn't pay?
No, you didn't pay, but why change the habits of a lifetime? Two thoughts, actually. Did you look at backgammon or any other card games besides poker? And the second one is something that I'm sure you've heard before, and there's a saying in darts that you can take darts out of the pub, but you can't take the pub out of darts. Do you think you're probably ahead of me, that you can take poker out of the casino, but can you take casino out of poker?
Let me do the first one.
Do you want to take the first one?
Yeah, just to answer the first point as to what are mind sports and what are not, which is really the question you're asking. There are a lot of intellectual games that have a big element of chance. And the element of chance being greater or smaller is one of the big issues as to whether it's a true mind sport or whether you can just be lucky that time. Backgammon, for example, has the dice, big element of chance, and if you were playing for money for backgammon, at the end of the day, you keep doubling up, and if the guy opposite hasn't got enough money, you're going to beat him. A lot of games like that are on the edge of mind sports. The formation factors behind the International Mind Sports Association is part of the Olympic family, and the timing and the style of the games is that all of these games, including duplicate poker, basically have an equal starting point. In chess or in Go or in checkers, you start with the two sets of equal teams, and apart from black or white first starter advantage, which you get rid of by X number of games, you really have a truly almost equal opportunity. So the best players are going to win through. So that was the sort of decision-making process behind the original formation of IMSA and the introduction of the other two observer games of duplicate poker and Chinese chess, that they are all based on an equal starting point.
As for the point on casinos, we believe that we should actually capture poker and take it back out of the casinos, but we don't really need to prove that because it's already happening. Again, because of the social media development, because of what has happened, as we sit here today, Zynga, through Facebook and Google, have probably got between 50 to 60 million people playing poker socially already online. We were surprised...
For no money to win.
For no money, yes, for no money at all. In terms of going again into China, we thought China, very regulated market, very regulated country, that they would be very anti-poker. To our surprise, there are two sites fully regulated, fully authorized as a social site in China, and there's an excess of 34 million Chinese playing regular poker on those sites. So it's not in the casinos. It's only governments that have forced it into casinos, because governments have been so short-sighted that they just believe that because it's got the P word of poker, it must be gambling, it must be gaming, it must go to casinos. And it's therefore governments that have restricted it to casinos where it should be open to be played anywhere. Is that right, any more?
That's fine.
But would you accept that you've got a job to do to overcome perceptions, particularly on poker?
I've had a huge job to do persuading Patrick Nelly that poker is not gambling. And those of us who've played it all our lives, gambling is a loose and losing way of playing poker. But as Patrick says, the Zynga figures just testify, 60 million people a month. You divide by 10, 6 million people as we speak worldwide are playing poker for no money, to win no money, for the love of the game. And these are the people we hope will become our members.
But to answer your question straightforward, yes, of course we have a challenge. We have a challenge to get governments to accept not just poker, but to accept mind sports as being a sport. Because as I said, this government, our government, doesn't as yet recognise it. They will, because we will change the 1937 Sports Act. But it is happening. As we are establishing ourselves in individual markets, Brazil has now fully recognised poker and all other mind sports. Brazil will be hosting the 2016 Mind Sport Games. So yes, it's happening, but yeah, it's a challenge.
Okay, our allotted time is fast running out, but can we take one question from the top end there? Just keep the lady with the microphone as busy as possible. She zigzags around the top of our theatre here.
Thank you very much. Andrew Eborn, Octopus Media Technology. You obviously have a phenomenal, probably unparalleled team of experts together with Dentsu and Patrick and the various people assembled. Can I just clarify a couple of points on your media strategy? Obviously, a lot of it's taking place online. Do you have a number of broadcasters lined up as well? And in addition, in light of the phenomenal experts that you have, what is your sponsorship policy?
To answer both questions, sponsorship policy first, because that's clearly my game, as they say. The ability that we have through establishing an online membership, a global membership, and encouraging people to just give us a little bit of data about themselves. You know, what is their preference of a football team? What is their social interest? What is their job? What is their background? Gives Dentsu and ourselves a very unique chance to go to what Tim has already forecast is the way to go, is the mass one-to-one. So clearly we are seeing lots of organised tournaments and events that will be sponsored, but those sponsors will know exactly to whom they are communicating to, whether it's their job, their geographic location, to their age, to whatever it will be, and there will be a massive opportunities to go one-to-one. So we see sponsorship as a very significant part of our driving force. In terms of the broadcast, if we look at poker, poker doesn't actually generate any real income as poker. It tends to be package shows, late at night and other things. But what you have got is you've got this vast audience of poker players that are interested in how people are playing. So at the Eye, for instance, if we've got 12 of the top players in the world all playing the same cards and therefore being judged to see how they play offensively as well as defensively, because with duplicate poker, it's about every point you score. So it's not just about winning, it's about losing well. Therefore, streaming, which is your world, streaming to us, to the biggest possible audience is where we see our broadcast policy. It's not about selling rights to broadcasters. That was 2, 3, it's certainly not in our 4th generation.
Thank you very much.
Okay, a lot of the questions have been around mind sports as sports. I think it might be worthwhile just elaborating slightly on the demands that are made on the players and the values of mind sports, which they share in common with physical sports. Who'd like to have a go at that?
Well, I mean, one point on that, Kevin, is absolutely, for many years, the healthy mind and the healthy body has been sort of one of the great targets for achievement. And the whole area of mind sports, there's been some very interesting research done on this. And, for example, the amount of calories that chess grandmasters burn up during international and world chess championships is unbelievable. You know, you see a guy like Garry Kasparov when he's sort of been playing the World Championship, something, or Vladimir Kramnik or Karpov or any of the great chess players, and this applies in all the other games. These guys, when they come off after the championship, are physically drained. They are exhausted. Vladimir Kramnik, who won the World Chess Championship in 2000, lost it again 2 years later, and they found out later that he hadn't been training as he had previously, that he had, you know, the odd he was catching the odd bugs and colds. He went into a very fit and healthy regime of training physically, where physical sports came over and helped, and, you know, obviously chess champions are often being found in physical sports helping, and he improved and he came back and won everything in sight and was playing like the former world champion he was. So there is a massive relationship, there's a massive opportunity, and I think the opportunity for health, the opportunity about the question earlier of quality of life and sort of self-respect, I think there's a great exciting crossover between the two, yes.
Excellent. We have one more question which we'll take very, very quickly if we could. I would just like to say, as the microphone is going down, drinks will be served outside as soon as we've finished, which brings a smile to the face of everybody on the panel. The guys will be here, so even while we're out of formal session, please take the opportunity to chat to them there. Please, whether you're a member of the media or not, if you find some media information around the place which has got contact details for further information, I know that the team are very keen to engage on every level at this very important moment of their launch. So one final question.
With drinks summoning us, I will be very quick. Stuart Lewis. One of the quotes was, "The emphasis is on sport and not money." You've got a £500,000 prize fund with a £250,000 prize for the first person in your tournament coming up in November. And again, you were saying anybody and everybody can play in the tournaments. Are you expecting the likes of Shane Warne to be turning up and applying to play for this?
I think I need to answer that in a way this has come about, in that in November this year, it's an invitational event because there's never been a World Championship before. And at this year's invitational event, we anticipate all of the current top players, because most of those top players will be playing for their nation in the first ever Nations Duplicate Cup. And they're taking it very seriously in terms of getting their best players to play in the Nations Duplicate Cup, which means that therefore, as they're going to be in London on the 17th and 18th, it seems logical for us to keep them for the 19th and 20th for the first World Championships. And we debated for a long time that for this first year that we would put up prize money as one would at golf or at tennis. For next year, once it goes online and once we can offer qualification to the world, we are still debating to whether prize money is an integral part of it or not. There's a very strong school of thought that it won't be part of it. It will be for the privilege to win through to the table, to come to London, to have all the other benefits that you would get in terms of prestige of winning that event. But for this year, as I say, it's invitational, so we agreed this year we would place some prize money, but that is not to say that in future years the prize money will be part of it, because as Charlie Nesson says, you will be very surprised to how many brilliant brains and brilliant poker players you will find once it is opened, none of whom want to earn their living from poker.
If I could just add, you mentioned Shane Warne. The answer is yes. It's very interesting. It relates to what Don was saying. People who were distinguished in other sports and they've burnt out in that sport, there's quite a lot of them become professional poker players. Shane Warne, Steve Davis here in the UK, snooker player, Paul Isinger, the golfer, Boris Becker, tennis player. They will all, we hope, be there and taking part in the table in November.
Right, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Now, before we all go, and as I said, the guys will be around to chat. It's been quite a journey today, one way or another, from talking about the world's most popular sport to a bunch of new sports and the new mindsets around them, and the new mindsets which are required to convert fascination through technology to activation to monetization. We wish you well in that. It's been a fascinating day. I've certainly learned something with absolutely every session which I've been part of today. I'd like to thank, most of all of you guys for being with us, particularly those of you who've remained with us till the end here tonight. I'd like to thank also BT, our great hosts as ever, for bearing with us for our 4th Sports Marketing 360. To Optimus for being responsible for taking pictures and sound from here to audiences around the world, a record number of users outside of this room in some very exotic locations. To Oxygenate, our partners, to Red Group. I hope you all had some fun out there during the various breaks. Pictures from today have been captured by Action Images and will be available via the normal mechanisms on their website. Thanks to Matt and to Rachel at Braben for all their work today as well. But as I say, thanks most of all to every one of the speakers that has made such a valuable contribution to what's been yet another fascinating Sports Marketing 360. Thanks for being with us. Please join us for a drink, and we look forward to seeing you this time, same place, same time next year. See you 2012. Bye.